Hello and welcome to the Friday Fixture. Naz, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Robin?
I'm good, man. Good, thanks. We've got a star-studded lineup again, as always. Every show is star-studded, but this one's particularly star-studded because it's today. We've got Ludo and Chris, who I believe were our first guests.
Yes.
Naz.
Yeah.
After our pilot episode, which feels like a long time ago.
Yeah.
Pretty huge.
Episode 2. So yeah, just in case anyone hasn't listened to the second episode. Chris, firstly, do you want to just give the listeners a bit of an intro of your team?
Yeah, sure. So I guess I'm the local La Liga correspondent. So I'm from Bilbao and Athletic Bilbao supporter since, 20 odd years now, just suffering my way through it, I guess.
Nice. And
Yeah.
Ludo?
I feel like people now.
I know, but just in case.
Yeah. I'm Ludo, Serie expert, as you will
Yes.
say, and I support Fiorentina. Everybody probably has
And
heard
you
me.
just got a job for the Juventus media team.
Yeah,
I
sure.
heard.
No, but
Congratulations.
but can I say this? I'm gonna say this anyway. It was a rhetorical question, but I was the backup guest today. But I want to say that I'm coming to the point because I accepted to be the second choice. I willingly accepted to be the second
You
choice.
are our Igor Tudor.
For the first and last time in my life. It's never gonna happen again. For the love
Ludo,
of this,
you
for the
know-
love of this podcast, guys. Like, I love you guys so much that I
That's very
decided
kind.
it was the right
Ludo,
thing to
you're
do.
never second choice,
Thank you.
always first.
Thank you. That's what you
I'm
usually.
sorry if you felt like that.
That's what you usually say to second choices, but it's
I've completely forgotten who was supposed to be the other person.
Someone else
I'm
supposed to come
joking.
on,
No.
and Ludo very kindly stepped in, so we appreciate you coming on the pod.
it's always a
Ludo.
pleasure.
We've got a lot to talk about. I mean, I feel like the episodes are fairly big these days, but we do have a lot to talk about. But Naz, we've got Oli in the studio as well. Obviously, a big Arsenal fan. But Naz,
Yep.
set piece FC again, doing what they do best at the weekend. They beat Chelsea, my beloved Chelsea, 2-1. Sanchez had a terrible game for the second goal as well. That was a bit of a shocker. Also, Neto, Chelsea's history with red cards. But yeah, what were your thoughts on sort of that dull Arsenal performance?
The performance dull, refereeing scandalous. That's my summary. I do think that there were some questionable decisions. I think a fair result would have been a draw. I think Chelsea looked really, really good. And probably deserved to take something away from that game. But at the end of the day, Harambe wins. And it's working and it continues to work. And, everyone's talking about it. Everyone's talking about this whole... Is the Premier League boring? We've mentioned it multiple times in the pod and stuff as well. And yeah, that game was... It was kind of... prime Jose Mourinho core football in the sense of just being ugly to try and win the league, which is fair enough. Like, I think if Arsenal go and win the league this season, I'll accept it, but I cannot stand if they continue to do that. Like, if every season now they go, this is our formula for winning the league, I'm not going to be here for it.
Fair enough. Oli, obviously you're an Arsenal fan. Do you want to just come to the mic and just say your piece in your right reply to Naz?
I get what people were saying. That was a horrible game of football. The one thing I say is, first of all, 3 points. Second, Liverpool lost to Wolves.
Important bit
now.
And third, I would say it was really bad refereeing on both sides, because there was 3 times that the referee didn't play the advantage, and there was that one particular one where Timber was completely gone.
That's true, yeah.
Okay.
And they just called it back, and I think, who knows what that could have done to the game? Like, maybe he scores there.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, they can play though, so...
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, true. You know what I mean? But
Skied it.
the other thing is,
Took the conversion kick.
it was Harambe on both sides of the ball. Chelsea were set piece FC as well.
Yeah, but I feel like often, unfortunately, clubs seem to like to play Arsenal at their own game when they go to the Emirates. So has happened a lot this season where the games at the Emirates Stadium have been pretty boring for the most part. So yeah, but just quickly on Arsenal as well, I think they've sort of found their groove a little bit again after a bit of a wobble. So yeah, they kind of are the title race favourites now, aren't they? After a little bit of a blip again. But yeah, what do you guys think of Arsenal and Harambal?
Yeah,
Chris?
it's funny. It reminded me a bit watching the last couple, because I did a little watch through the Prem games in preview for this, and it reminded me a bit of when
We never
Athletic,
prep, by the way.
yeah,
No.
when Athletic played against Newcastle in the Champions League this season. And one thing that I noticed was that every single set piece for Newcastle was just like, it was 30 seconds of prep, sending everyone forward and just bombing it into the box. And we got annihilated in that game. We lost 2-0, it could have been much more. And it was just this kind of weird feeling of, it's like, what is this? Like, we're just not used to this kind of, it just feels like, I don't know, this stats optimization of football, treating it like almost like an Excel sheet or something, like just sort of like making it super physical, almost forgetting that it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm a purist, but like football is meant to be entertainment at the end of the day. It's meant to be something that we enjoy, that we expect, and I just didn't enjoy it. It just feels like very boring, very bland, very sort of physical and kind of dull.
Ludo, I was going to ask you, obviously you're a Chelsea fan as well as a Fiorentina fan. Neto and the Chelsea red cards, talk to me about this. There's nine we've had this season, I think. It's pretty pathetic, isn't it? Do you agree?
Yeah, but I like him. So
I know you love
I'm
Neto,
gonna
but come
defend
on.
it. But no. What I want to say is that probably because I grew up watching Serie A, and for a long time, like Juventus has won by not playing well or by not being entertaining. I think that at the end of the day, if you get those 3 points, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, get those 3 points and just be happy with that. So I'm kind of more leaning on the side of, okay, it's not entertaining, but if we can win, I don't care. Give me those points and we go home.
Yeah.
I don't want to believe that Chelsea have got a discipline issue. Like, I don't think they do, because that's the kind of narrative that all of these red cards is created. But like, for me, I think that they may be like young and, you know,
I think that the word is young, yeah.
But like, I don't think they are necessarily aggressive players or like, you know, even necessarily making bad decisions. I think half the time they're also just unlucky.
I think as well it does come into a little bit of a lack of immaturity. I think when you're young and immature and you're like early 20s or whatever, you know, you go and have more fun. Most people that age are going to go out and have more fun or whatever. And maybe there's an element to that, I don't know, but I was also trying to think about this in a workplace environment. Like, people that are 21, 22 probably aren't going to be as mature as like the 40-year-old person that's been in the business for many, many years. So, yeah, but they're going to make mistakes, aren't they?
Yeah.
So
How old
part
is
of that
Neto?
is getting
How old
sent
is
off.
Neto?
Well, I don't know actually.
I
He
think
looks
he's a
younger
little bit.
than maybe
No,
he is.
I think he's
but,
a little bit
is he?
older. I
Okay.
think he has like children.
Got quite a young face. Oh, okay.
He's actually a grandfather.
We'll look it up in a second. Yeah, I thought he was like 23, 24, but
No,
I
think he's
is he?
I think so.
But there has been a lot of young. Is he like 42 or something?
Yeah.
Check my body, the cat.
Be back in.
Bro, you're failing.
It's like Microsoft app
It's trying to
verification.
find the age, but
You know what? We'll find out in the next episode.
Okay.
Honestly, you can let yourself.
But I just think there is a general, sort of narrative about the squad being immature, and there
he's
are.
25.
He's 25. Okay, that is still fairly young, I'd say. But maybe in the Premier League, I mean, Saka's been playing for like 10 years, hasn't he? And he's very mature for his age. So I guess it's just pot luck. But yeah, Chelsea for a long time. Sorry?
He has 2 babies, I confirm.
Okay. Seems to know
Sorry.
an awful lot about
Ground
Neto.
journalism.
I forgot Ludo has quite an obsession with Neto.
It's not obsession.
So yeah, but I just think that that whole squad for Chelsea is quite young. They don't really have that many older heads. They got rid of Azpilicueta. They got rid of Thiago Silva.
Raheem Sterling.
Yeah. Although I always feel like he was quite immature, even though he was always like, I don't know, he had that bit of a vibe about him, didn't he? But yeah, for love or hate.
But
But
also, just like in terms of that tackle, by the way, like, if you're a professional footballer and the thing is, right, supposedly he knew he was on a yellow card. Like, you know that in that situation, doing that tackle that he did is going to get you a second yellow card every day of the week.
Yeah.
Like, surely, like, that is just a stupid decision.
But I suppose to my point, maybe in his brain he'd forgotten, and he was trying to save a goal from going in. So he was maybe looking out for his team, but in totally the wrong way. But yeah, so yeah, I feel like Chelsea's chances of Champions League are a little bit scupped at the moment. We'll get on to obviously Wolverhampton Wanderers giving Chelsea a bit of a lift last night by beating Liverpool.
What? Did that happen?
Yeah, beating Liverpool 2-1. But the top 4 race does look quite open at the moment. So, but we'll get onto that in a second. But I also wanted to talk about Leeds versus Man City just very briefly as well, because I thought it was to go to Ellen Road and get a 1-0 win, not concede, and have 2 of their new signings, Gahey and Semenyo, come in straight away and just literally slot in like they weren't even transfers in January, is super impressive. And I think a player like Semenyo, give him credit, because he's come from Bournemouth, mid-table side, you could argue, although Bournemouth fans won't like me for saying that. But yeah, Naz, do you think there is a title race? I feel like Man City are going to go on one of these runs where they just play 10 games and go unbeaten.
Yeah, that's
what
what
do
I'm
you think?
hoping for. But, I am like genuinely because the thing is, it would be so frustrating if they don't do that this season, given they've done it to Liverpool twice, and we've gone and got like
He remembers.
points. It's traumatic, like points totals that would have won the league like so many other seasons. But there's just behemoth of a team who decided, we're just gonna win like our last like 17 games in a row. I need them to do that again this time. And I mean, the thing is, like, if anyone can do it, I believe Pep Guardiola is able to drill his team to be like that.
Sure.
And not just Semenyo, but Mark Gahey also has slotted in so well at Man City as well. Like, he looks like he's been there for years. So I think that will make a massive difference. And title race, definitely on.
Next to Diaz as well, looked really solid in defence in that game as well, kept out a lot of crosses from Leeds. So they look impressive. Ludo and Chris, do you think there's a title race still on the cards?
I would never rule out a Guardiola side of any title race, and like Nas said, it feels like they're in that form now. Just the last 10 games, win them all, and it's just on Arsenal really to see can they keep it up. They've last season they kind of tripped over as well a little bit in that kind of last stretch. So can they keep it up? I'm not sure. I have my doubts. I don't know if the set piece thing can work every single game.
Okay.
I totally agree. If Guardiola is in, you never know what's going to happen. It's like a new slogan. But I totally agree.
It's 10 games to go, or
it is 10 games to go,
or 9 if you're Arsenal. And it's the situation is that if Man City win all their games, they win the league. So
that's
it's kind of in their hands.
It's almost like I was thinking ahead with these questions.
I would be scared if I were an Arsenal fan.
Definitely.
100%.
I also think that game that Arsenal play away at the Etihad, for many reasons, is crucial. And that when Pep turns that side on, which often he seems to in title races, going away to the Etihad is often the fortress. So that I feel that game is absolutely crucial.
It's huge.
It's ginormous, isn't it? But Oli, finally on the title race, what are your thoughts? Are you worried about Man City?
I mean, of course, I think you'd be silly not to.
Yeah.
But I also think there is a factor, which is I think Arsenal, ahead of that fixture, Arsenal have an easier schedule.
Okay.
Particularly because our Champions League draw is easier. We've got Leverkusen, and they've got Madrid. And I think
Bodo though.
Yeah. Bodo might take us out. You know what? Bodo might take us out.
Titans over there.
But I actually do think that that gives us a bit of an edge just before that game, because I think they might be a bit more exhausted. And we've I think our game right before that one in the league might be, we've got Brighton today.
Away, yes.
That's tricky.
Yeah, that's
which
tricky.
I think is a tricky one.
Yeah.
And I was actually, on the Leeds game, I was actually expecting Leeds, yes, they played well, City, but Leeds, Dominic Calvert-Lewin had 2 or 3 chances to put them away.
Really good chances.
They're not infallible, City, and I do think they play a lot of sides who have to avoid relegation. So there'll be some scrappy games, like Forest tonight for them is not a given.
It's at home though, but they have been a bit indifferent, haven't they? But I think for Man City's sake, the game tonight is crucial. If they lose that, then there probably isn't a title race. If they win it and they keep going on this train, I think they'll probably do it. That's my prediction.
I think even if they lose.
Yeah. Just quickly, one word. Who's going to win the title? Ludo, you first.
I think
2 words?
Arsenal can still win that.
Okay. That wasn't one word.
It's gonna be a suffering thing, but I think they can.
One
do that.
word.
City.
Liverpool.
Okay.
yeah.
Chelsea then, yeah. Well, from the title race down to the relegation fight, obviously happening. I can't believe I'm saying this, and I feel like we've kind of touched on it a little bit throughout the last couple of episodes now. But Spurs are actually in a relegation scrap, aren't they? Which is like I felt like I was kind of trying to deny it in my brain. I was like, well, they'll be fine. They've got Thomas the Frank engine in before. Like they'll be fine. Like. It hasn't quite worked out for them. Obviously, they brought in Igor Tudor. I'm going to get your thoughts, Ludo, on him because obviously he was at Juventus. But yeah, just quickly, Naz, on Spurs because obviously, well, actually, I'll give a compliment first to Fulham. What did you make to Fulham's performance? Because I think Harry Wilson had a really good game, and also Iwobi.
That goal.
Can I ask you about the finish? Because the side foot finish. Yeah, give me your thoughts just quickly on Fulham.
I mean, Fulham when they decide to, like, they can really turn it on. Like,
against anyone.
Yeah, exactly. Literally against anyone. Like, they can have a really good game because those, like, especially when Iwobi and Harry Wilson, like, those kind of players, they obviously have their histories being at like Arsenal, Liverpool. Like, they know how to be big players in big teams, and it's just a case of consistency, right? Harry Wilson, like, I actually really like love him back at Liverpool. Like, I do think it's regretful that we got rid of him. And the thing is that just happens at big clubs, right? Like, your squad list is just there's too many players that want a chance. So eventually, some of them, the good ones, will go away. Same thing happened with like Nico Williams. He's like killing it at Forest now when we really need a right back. So same sort of thing just keeps happening. But yeah, honestly, Fulham so impressive. Tottenham Hotspur, one of the only original like Premier League teams that's never been relegated, and it really looks like it could happen. Like I kind of think it will. Like I think it looks dire at the moment, and the managerial situation is a sticky one because people are already saying, get rid of Eagle. Which I don't really know what you do in this situation. Like, how do you resolve this?
I don't know. Luda, obviously, you'll probably be more familiar with Igor Tudor's work when he was the Juventus manager, and he was sort of brought in as the sort of quick time fixer maker. What are your views on him as a manager?
I'm not a big fan of him.
Okay.
Like, I don't think is the greatest manager ever, and also at Juve he struggles a little bit. I think he needs
Didn't he win his first 9 games though in charge?
What?
When he was Juventus manager, I'm sure he went on a run at the start where he won 9 games in a row.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember Juventus statistics so well. No. Like, I usually don't care. I usually like move on when I read their statistics. But then it kind of struggle a little bit. So I just think that he needs to find a key for Tottenham that he still hasn't found. But in my opinion, they're not gonna be relegated. Like, this is the kind of thing they usually say on Fiorentina. I'm gonna say that on Tottenham, they're not gonna be relegated.
You say that, but I've just got the table up here.
Yeah.
They are 4 points off the drop.
Yeah.
And their run is quite hard as well, I think. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of want them to stay up because I think it'd be really sad and just like that lovely stadium in the Championship.
I was going to say that stadium was
it
60, 70,000.
It would be crazy.
It would be.
Oxford United at home.
Yeah, okay, but like they've also there's lots of rumours that like the board want to put regardless of whether they get relegated, they want to put the ticket price up for season ticket holders.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy. Like, if that's true, there's going to be like riots in the street. Like, they want to put up the prices. Which I imagine, like,
got to pay for Beyonce somehow.
Like, one of my friends has a season ticket at Chelsea, and you get your pack through to like your email through like in April for the next season. Like, renew your season ticket now. But can you imagine? There's fans like, oh, I'm not sure about this. Like you were saying, Oxford away, like or Oxford at home. It's going to be a bit of a worrying time, isn't it, for those fans? Like,
it's genuinely like so embarrassing. Like, just not for the club only, but also just to be the fan as well. Like, it's a case of like you are going to have to walk around and like people will just clown you everywhere you go.
Yeah,
it's like
genuinely,
so shameful.
So embarrassing.
Like, it is.
Yeah, you do. There's definitely pity there. Yeah. I feel like the only people that really take joy in it are the Arsenal.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna be like.
Yeah, but also, but Ollie, to that point, like when you're playing those derby games, you don't want to be missing out because I feel like a lot of Newcastle fans really missed playing against Sunderland when they're in League One and Championship. So surely you'd enjoy beating them in the Premier League, right? You want them to sort of be lambasted at the bottom of the Premier League, but not relegated. Finish 17th every season, or whatever, right? No.
I mean, I get what you mean. Let them burn in hell. Yeah. But I think they're not gonna. I really don't think they. I mean, they have been on an all-time, like, I think it's like 12 points from 19 games, which is insane. Like that is beyond relegation form, and I think it would be a disaster for the club and the league if they do get relegated, because I do think there's not that many. I mean, it's what was it? Something that is it's one of the most like well-run, economically speaking, clubs.
Yeah.
And not having that Premier League money would be disastrous for them.
They've won the Excel spreadsheets league title 2 years in a row, mate. Like they're doing really well on that front. And there is actually, by the way, if anyone wants to watch it, I got really bored of the night. I watched the Excel Championships for like 10 minutes. That was weird.
Excel Championships.
Yeah,
like
they
a
do
World
like
Cup.
spreadsheets, but like super quick.
Really?
Oh, weird.
Really?
Nazi, well up your sleeve. You're getting bored, mate.
You know I'm all
Procrastinating.
over that.
How did you find it out? Like, how do
My algorithm's clearly a bit fucked, and it was like, you should watch this. So I did. But yeah.
What are they like? Who can do the equation the quickest? Or like,
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
it
Literally, like they sort out like.
But it's like who knows like formulas best. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have seen clips of this.
Oh,
yeah,
you as
Wow.
well.
Okay.
I'll send it to all you guys later.
So it's really an
You'll enjoy
Excel
it.
podcast we're doing here, not a football one.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
tricked you
We've been
guys.
tricked in.
Yeah.
It's the
Okay.
Friday Excel fixture. But yeah, just quickly as well on the goal. I mean, the Wobie's finished.
That was amazing.
Chris, it was
It was
a great finish,
unbelievable.
wasn't it?
I mean, just
Instinctive.
first time instinctive, side-footed, right next to the post. I mean, I've always loved Iwobi, to be fair, as a player. I mean, I remember him at Arsenal, even at Everton. I mean, he was a bit off it, but still, he's just technically, he's a delight to watch.
Yeah.
He's absolutely unbelievable, and that goal just summed him up, really, as a player.
Did you like the goal?
Yeah, it was crazily good.
It was a lovely
Love it.
finish, wasn't it? Also, cult hero Bassi. Now, it's just quickly.
Yep.
I don't know if you've seen it, but they played Burnley away. I think before Christmas, before AFCON, and he went on this mad run.
Solo run, yeah.
And it was cool, and then he just skied the shot into the stand, and I just love him because again in this game they had a chance to make it 3-0, and from a corner he should have scored it. He just skies it again. He's just got be a great conversion kick taker in rugby, wouldn't he? But yeah, another great game in the Premier League last weekend was Burnley 3, Brentford 4.
Yeah.
We've got the World Cup coming up soon. Obviously, Thiago,
Mental.
he's got 18 goals in the league
Crazy.
this season, which is mad.
Yeah.
How did Brentford keep doing it with these strikers, by the way? They just kind of pluck out of nowhere and
I
get them to
don't
score
know.
20 Prem goals. It's mental. It's
The
crazy.
recruitment is crazy, isn't it?
Right, just never heard of him before. Next thing you
No.
know, it's almost 20 Premier League goals in a season.
Well, I think it's really impressive with Brentford as well because you're right, they're very good at recruitment. Their model is impressive, really
it's a
impressive.
Really well-run club, yeah.
I heard an interview with someone that I think it might have been even with the Brentford owner who was talking about like when Thomas Frank left, he wasn't even fussed because they kept a lot of their backroom staff. All the backroom staff get on really well with their players, and it's literally like just signing a new player essentially with bringing a new manager. Like they can just it just slots in like super easily, like nothing's changed. So yeah, they're doing remarkably well. Burnley, are they talking about relegation zone now? Are they now essentially not mathematically, but are they essentially relegated after that result?
Yeah, I think that do feel bad for Burnley because they seem to be like so close to being good enough to stay up, but they're just missing something.
Yeah.
And it manifests in these results where they like could be so close to getting a point or picking up something and they just don't. And in the case of this game though, again, slightly mired in controversy with VAR and ruling out the goal. The decision excuse me, for the handball, thank you. Again, like it's sort of it's like I don't know, I did think it was a little bit, and like again when it comes to like offsides and stuff as well, I do feel so bad for them. It's a shame because Burnley are a massive club as well, and they feel like a Premier League team. They feel like should be in the Premier League rather than Championship. I have the feeling that if they do go down, they will just come back up. They're one of those,
Yeah. Okay, well, we need to move on now, but we've got Newcastle as well, losing 3-2 to Everton.
Yep.
Two players I really want to talk about in particular, the two goalkeepers.
Oh, yeah.
And then also Gordon. A tale of two keepers, tale of two games, I'd say, for both keepers. Pope did not have his best game. The parried goal for the first one was a shocker.
Yeah, terrible.
But he's a really solid goolkeeper. Shout out to Pope, he used to be at York City back in the day. Who lost last night, sadly. But I thought Pickford had one of his greatest performances. He always plays really well against Newcastle, regardless of who he's playing for. fucking loves going to St James Park as well. That Tonali strike.
That's an amazing save.
Amazing save. Amazing. But
this season.
I'm going to be Gary Neville
Oh, yeah.
a little bit. Was it a little bit straight at him? But it was the speed at which it came at him, which is impressive, right? It did look really cool on the replays. Yeah, did people enjoy
I think
that?
it's the speed, but also the amount of bodies it goes through as well.
Yeah.
That he's able to kind of, it feels like he sees it late as well. And with the power of it, I mean, at a much lower level, I play and goal as well. And I just felt like that save in itself was just like, I could have never done that. Like, the strength of hand just to push that onto the crossbar too.
Yeah,
that was
sick.
unbelievable.
I think that made it look aesthetically even better that it hit the crossbar too.
Yeah,
Like, it
that's
just
true.
shows,
That's
like,
so
you know,
true. Gives
how
it a little
close it
extra
was. Yeah,
swaz to it almost.
Exactly.
I love him as well because he always celebrates amazing save like that. Like he scored the winner, which I think is great. Like
he was
it's great,
literally
right?
like this when he saved it. I was like, yes, good.
He's kind of living his best life. Like imagine like you do a job you love and then you just get to celebrate that and then you get loads of people shouting at you who hate you, but you got like 4,000 fans like really far high up who love you. It must have been quite a funny day for him. But also I wanted to talk to you guys Naz in the panel about Gordon. England, obviously we've got the World Cup in like 3 months' time. Gordon's form's obviously a bit mixed. Do you think he'll still go to the World Cup at this point, or is his
I think
place
for the sake
in danger?
Of the left wing issue means that he will. I think he will go to the World Cup just because we do need like options.
I was gonna say, like, who else would play left wing really realistically right now? What competition would he have?
Rashford can play either wing. I feel like he's very adaptable. We'll get on to Barcelona in a bit. Good question.
I mean, it would have been people like Jack Grealish and whatever, but he's not around at the
I
moment.
feel like Gordon has you're right. He's kind of cemented his spot, it would seem. So unless he gets injured, maybe he'll just do what he wants.
Odin out for the whole thing?
Eze?
Yeah, Eze, but again, he has to starting a lot more games. I feel like Tuchel likes to play players that start for their teams. So yeah, you might be right. I think Gordon just stroll around doing nothing for the rest of the season still.
His spot is
yeah.
But
yeah. Any more thoughts on Newcastle's form as well, Naz? They're not doing too well at the moment, are they?
Yeah, not so much. I think they're definitely the type of team that should be competing for Europe like regularly. They, naturally this season have been on a pretty decent run. We never really get the chance to talk about Champions League on this pod. We always end up going to like Premier League.
We are. That is on my list. We are going to be.
Because like they are a team that I think as well, just historically and traditionally have been like. I remember growing up in Newcastle were always in amongst like 4th, 5th, 6th. So yeah, they're good enough.
UEFA Cup.
Yeah,
was their kind of vibe back in the day.
Exactly.
Channel 5. Another big game a little bit further north was obviously the old firm derby, Rangers 2, Celtic 2. Have you guys seen Chimiti's first goal?
Yeah.
Oh my word,
Fantastic.
the bicycle kick. I loved it. We all agree, right? That was
it was crazy.
Proper footy, as Naz would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, Celtic did well. It was also Martin O'Neill's 74th birthday, so shout out to him. But Celtic did well to obviously make it 2-2. But Naz, do we think there's actually still a title race up north in Scotland? Because obviously Hearts are 6 points clear now as a result of that game because both two teams dropped 2 points. So do you think there's still a title race?
Well, what I only discovered recently is the format of the Scottish Premier League.
I was going to say, it's so confusing, right?
Yeah.
I get confused even trying to read about it.
So what they do is they split at a certain point in the season, and I think it's the top 6 teams go into like a group where they only
goodies
play each
and the
other,
baddies,
and exactly, and then the bottom teams play each other.
Yeah.
And that's why people have always questioned like, why do Celtic and Rangers play each other like 50 million times a season? It's because they go into this group every time.
But they also there is also other cynical reasons why they play each other 50,000 times, because that is the game that everyone watches. It's like Boston Celtics versus Knicks, right? In NBA or whatever. Is that a good example in NBA? I don't know if that is, but I'm just saying like a big game, right? So everyone watches it.
Classico in Spain's the same thing.
Okay, El Clasico,
I want Hearts.
Yeah.
Is it the right pronunciation? Hearts?
It works.
Hearts, to win the league, just because we play against them in Conference League. We beat them like badly. So we could say that we beat the champions of the Scottish League. Sorry guys, I just want to say this little thing.
Foreign team this, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, so do we think Hearts will
I think Hearts will do it.
or
I hope so.
Yeah.
Really hope so.
I think
I think
it's their time to shine.
Yeah.
Nice.
Time to shine.
Okay. Well, I also wanted to touch briefly on Hurricanes' performance in the German Klassiker Dortmund 2, Bayern 3. He obviously got 2 goals again, 44th and 45th goal.
Crazy.
The thing I wanted to just quickly talk about is like there isn't anything to talk about because for England's sake, he is like there is no narrative. He is like cemented. There's no problem there. He will be our starting player. It's just really nice to just have a position where we're not even discussing it, right? It's just a beautiful thing. Like Harry Kane is our
Got there in the
For
end.
me, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Right, at least it's the same.
It's just nice, isn't it? Now it's just easy.
Yeah, but do you know what? Like, we need to figure out how the hell we get him to be domestic Harry Kane when he plays
I
for
need to
England.
say that.
Yeah.
You know, because that's just what we're missing. If we can get that to work, World Cup's ours. Like, it's ours to lose.
Bold predictions
'Cause, like,
here.
he's been the best striker in the world this season, easily, and like. You know, he just really needs to show that on a national
Yeah, for me, he's a
scale.
top 5 player in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's one of the-
absolutely.
One of the best in the world. It's crazy to think that he just seems to get better and better and
Yeah.
better. I
Yeah.
mean, how old is he now? 33? I mean, it seems like he's
34, 33.
and
Yeah,
he feels like he's hitting his prime now,
Yeah,
like,
Yeah.
in a new league, in a new context, and it's just it's crazy to see. And he
Incredible.
does every register, passing, finishing, heading. It's just everything.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
I think
I
the way. Sorry, Ludo, Karen.
No, I wish we had the same problem as you. Honestly,
Yeah.
it's
The-
amazing.
The nice thing for him is that I feel like he really looks after his body. He's obviously, pretty doesn't really go up high or anything by the looks of it. So he probably could end up playing till he's like 40 in the Bundesliga or other leagues. And then apparently he's going to go and play as a kicker in the NFL. That's what he wants to do. So,
Ah.
what a life.
Whew.
I could actually genuinely see
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
But yeah, we better start previewing some games now for.
You've saved me so much trouble by not covering Wolves versus Liverpool.
Oh, well, that's about to come, mate. Oh, don't worry. That's
okay,
part of my plan.
Twisted and nice.
Don't you worry.
Spoke too
Well,
soon.
Naz, it's really funny that you say that, mate, because I don't know if you realise, but Wolverhampton are playing Liverpool in the FA
yeah,
Cup.
we do have that on
Which,
Friday. Yeah.
coincidentally, is quite a nice tangent to the game that happened last night, which you may or may not have lost against Wolves. Do you want to just briefly talk about that game?
I was busy last night, so I don't even know what happened there. Not gonna lie.
You were quite quiet yesterday on the
No, to
chat.
be fair, I was actually busy. Like I missed most of the game.
Luckily.
But then when so I was watching a play. I came out of the play, and then I whacked on the radio, and I had it in my AirPods, and I just like hear that it's a stink fest. And I quickly checked like Twitter, and everyone's slating Gakpo again, which is just natural. Liverpool fans are not fans of him at the moment. Yeah, honestly, like I've become a little bit indifferent about Liverpool's results. I said this a few weeks ago. Like, if us not doing great leads to some sort of drastic change, that means we're better to watch in the future. I'm okay with that. If we end up picking up points and we end up getting a Champions League place, I'm also happy with that. So it's not awful for me, like personally, but it's just a bit dreadful to watch my team this.
I was going to say to you, you mentioned Gakpo. Obviously, Engamoa came on for him in the 65th minute, and he looks really talented. Obviously, I remember his cameo against Newcastle away. I think he scored the winner, didn't he? He was at 3-2. Is he sort of cementing his position as a starting player now?
Well, the thing is, right, he is the future, absolutely. But Liverpool are very careful. Like, they're one of the leading teams, I think, in terms of being super careful about managing players' minutes. It's why, like,
when they're young. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Because I think you can kind of see the impact of it now with players like Trent, who we brought in really early, and now he's like just not the same Trent he was when he was like 21, 22.
Or 17, wasn't he? When
Literally,
he first,
like at those ages, he was competing to be the best right back in the world. Like, he was really, like, when Liverpool were winning the Premier League at that point and stuff, like, he was really showing, like, flexing his muscles. And now he's like 26, 27, and he's just kind of almost burning out a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think, Liverpool are wary about doing that to players like Rio as well. So I think, like, he's got massive potential, and I want to see him play more. I just don't know how we're going to do that without turning him into like another Sterling, for example.
Interesting.
Where they're really good, really young, and then just burns out.
Nice. Well, also, I thought we should give a shout out to Rob Edwards, because I think kudos to the guy. I think he's doing a really good job. Obviously, he left Borough. He's obviously happy. He's at a club that he wants to be at. Obviously, technically, Wolves are probably going to get relegated, unfortunately.
Well,
but
I wanted to ask about this as well. Just generally putting that out there. Like, there was this whole thing about how Opta predicted in their predictor that they said because it was 99.95%, they were like, okay, it's 100%. Wolves are going to get relegated. It's not 100%.
I was going to ask you
there's
this.
still
Yeah.
that flicker of hope.
Mathematically, is still possible.
What if they do it? I would
Maybe
love that.
they're gonna win 10 games
What a
in a row.
story that would be.
What?
Yeah.
Well,
Instead of
maybe they're in the
like
title race. You never know.
Maybe do a Leicester. What was it? Leicester the season before they won
Yeah,
the
they-
Prem
yes.
were bottom
Yeah.
of the league
They
with 10
just
games to
sneaked
go.
Exactly what
Yeah.
they did, yeah.
So
And they had
Who
like
knows?
5 Gomez's playing for them, which I always thought was
Yeah.
quite funny. Rodrigo Gomez's finish was really fun, really good finish. But yeah, I want them to stay up. I don't think it will happen, but I think what will probably happen is they've got one of those squads that are like very good for the very good for the Championship, not quite good enough for the Premier League. A little bit of a cyclical thing like Burnley do, right, where they go down, they come up, they go down all the time. So I think probably what will happen is they'll probably win the Championship next season on like 105 points or something crazy. But yeah, good luck to them. But yeah, that obviously is an FA Cup tie.
Yeah.
So just quickly on that game, Naz, what do you think will happen? Prediction, just score prediction.
I do think like Arnie's going to feel the pressure to get a result after that performance.
Yeah.
So
Don't you feel sorry for the fans, by the way? Just quickly, like the Liverpool away fans that like if they got tickets for both games or
Yeah.
they had ticket for the Tuesday games, oh, got to go back to Wolverhampton
well, this
again.
is what I was thinking. I was thinking about this logistically in terms of the team as well. I was like, I wonder if they just
Stay there.
Stay
stay
there.
there, like
What, train on Wolves'
just,
pitch?
Yeah, no, like just like find a training ground
Yeah.
somewhere in Wolves and just stick around for a few days. Like,
Wait, is it Friday?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
Fri-
Tuesday night to
Today.
Friday night. Like,
Yeah.
Today you're playing them.
you're so
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
tonight.
yeah,
A
today.
few
Yeah,
hours.
tonight,
Oh my God,
yeah.
No, like, but the thing is, like, Wolves to Liverpool also, it's not that far. So,
No.
like, realistically,
Yeah.
you know, they probably have just gone home.
Score prediction?
I think Wolves will score first, and we'll be like, oh, it's happening again, and then Liverpool will score like 5.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be something like that. One of
Salah
those.
hat trick or something. Ludo?
Yeah,
I would have said like 4-1. So I agree.
To
with
Wolves?
No. to
To
Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Yeah, same. I think Liverpool should win by, especially get revenge on them. You know,
Yeah.
by 3 or 4, I'd expect.
I think there'd be prime Salah. I think he'll want to get a bit of form back after he scored last night.
Got his first
So,
goal in 10 games or
yeah.
11 games or something like
Since
that.
November, wasn't it? Start of November or something.
Yeah,
So
very
yeah.
nice to see.
We're running a little bit out of time, so I just wanted to also just quickly get predictions on Mansfield Town versus Arsenal. Big tie. Who do you think will win that?
Arsenal's
You-
quad is over. Mansfield on an insane run.
Yeah.
4-0. It's going to be
4-0.
embarrassing.
Wow.
Really? You
Ludo?
think so? No, it would be like 2-0.
4-0
something
to Mansfield Town.
No, 2-0 for Liverpool.
When I make the
To Arsenal,
social
sorry.
clip of you saying Mansfield 4, Arsenal 0. Sorry, what do you say?
2-0 for
2-0 to
Arsenal.
Arsenal. Okay.
Yeah.
1-0 to Arsenal, a jammy goal from a corner.
Okay. I'm going to go 4-0 to Arsenal, unfortunately.
Goal.
But we've also got Wrexham versus Chelsea. Obviously, got the big American owner derby happening there. I watched Wrexham play on Saturday. They're a pretty solid team. They didn't play particularly well against Charlton, but yeah, I think they'll probably lose, won't they, to Chelsea? But I don't know. At the moment, Chelsea are a bit of a weird team, aren't they? They're obviously playing Aston Villa. Or they have played Aston Villa on Wednesday evening. So yeah, it depends who they field and whether they keep 10 men on the pitch. Yeah, Chris, what do you think of that game?
You know, this could be an upset.
Yeah.
And Chelsea
I agree.
is still fighting for a lot of things going on in the league, let alone the Champions League. I think, maybe Wrexham can get something out of this. I won't
Yeah.
be surprised if Wrexham got a cheeky 1-0 win, kind of last-minute goal from a corner and break your heart, Robin.
Yeah.
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 Fair enough.
I
Ludo?
kind of agree. I think it's going to be a really open match. So it would be like something like 1-0, 2-1, something like that for Wrexham.
Oh, my friend.
Yeah. We have to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, that I've kind of got a soft spot for Wrexham on the pod.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I've always kind of, like...
You've always
It's a
defended when I've
beautiful
kind of...
story.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Like, even though, like, I completely get where you're coming from as well. But I want them to do well. So, yeah, Wrexham to win. 7-0.
Hey.
I also wanted to have a nice little shout out as well. Just one final game from that FA Cup run, which is obviously Port Vale, who beat Bristol City on, was it Monday evening? 1-0 in extra time. That was cool. And they've got to the 5th round for the first time in 30 years. So kudos to them. But yeah, do we think they could sneak a result against a kind of withered Sunderland side? Ludo, do you want to go first?
I don't know. It's going to be difficult. I cannot predict that. Difficult. I don't know.
No score prediction?
No.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a really boring, dull game that's going to be won by like a penalty.
Yeah.
Like
Penalties? Or, no?
Yeah, penalties or like an extra time penalty to Sunderland or something.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's a shame.
that's the kind of vibe I'm getting.
Yeah.
No one's going to go on
Like,
optimistic.
d-
You're not
like-
going to do one of
Yeah.
your stories?
It's gonna be it's gonna be the most boring game in that it's gonna have
Yeah,
0 shots on target, 0 corners, 0 free
Yeah.
kicks, just nothing, and then it'll go straight to penalties. 0-0 all the way through.
Fair enough.
And then all the players will miss their penalties, and then one of the goalkeepers will score.
And then they get people from the stands come on as well. Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
Okay, well, let's move on as well now. Chris, we've obviously got you on the pod to talk primarily about the La Liga, Spanish football. You're kind of our Spanish football expert.
We need like a musical thing to take us into the European segment.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
I might ask Ed or I might compose it for myself.
Yeah.
Don't do what the other pod did, where they got banned because they used music that was licensed. We won't do that. Chris, obviously, Atletico versus Barca.
Yeah, that was last night. It was a crazy game, actually. It kind of went all over the place. So obviously, Atletico Madrid a couple weeks back, they beat Barca 4-0 on a kind of shock result where just everything went wrong from Barca. Even one of their star players, Joan Garcia, their goalkeeper, made a humongous mistake for the first goal. And so it was all on the line for them to try and keep that sort of dream of the triple up or quadruple. And actually, they did a good kind of push for it. Another surprise kind of great performance from Marc Bernal, who's the young promising centre midfielder who's really been kind of up there and just scoring goals even now in recent games, but it wasn't quite enough, and Atleti were able to kind of just about hold it together to get through to the final.
Yeah, well, obviously Barca are now playing Athletic.
Yes, confusing for most. Yes.
So I was just confused, but sorry about that. But yeah, obviously Barca are doing fairly well. They're obviously top of the league at the moment.
Yeah.
From an English football perspective, because I feel like most of our listeners are kind of following a lot of the English teams. Obviously, Rashford's obviously playing for Barcelona. Can you just give us a sort of short summary, like how has he been for Barcelona?
Overall, I'd say positive. It's been good, his stint in Barcelona. He is a player with a great highlight reel. So he's technically very good. He's got some fantastic assists and goals. He scored for Barca. I mean, I remember a goal he scored against Newcastle in the Champions League, which was just an absolute wonder strike. Yeah. And his numbers are very good. I think that it'll be interesting to see if Barca actually sign him in the end of the day. 30 million euros is a lot of money for them. And at the end of the day, he's not...
Which is mad, by the way. You're saying that as if that's like a nonchalant comment. Like, Barcelona back in the day were signing like Ibra for like.
Well, that was a point I did want to kind of mention later on, is that like the big thing right now is a lot of people in Spain are talking about this. It's just the very noticeable money divide between the Premier League and La Liga. It's absolutely different worlds. I mean, one thing that kind of came to mind before I came here was that Alaves is a first division team in Spain. It's like a mid-table, sort of equivalent, like maybe Nottingham Forest, etc. And they broke their transfer record this summer after sending quite a few players, and that was 6 million euros for Lucas Boyer. Right,
that's in the equivalent of the Championship.
No, that's a La Liga
bona
side who have been in La Liga, regular La Liga team for 6, 7, 8 years, and that was a big signing for them, 6 million euros. In the Premier League, what would 6 million euros get you? A third choice goalkeeper?
Yeah.
No one.
Wouldn't even get you Scott Carson, who's like the third choice goalkeeper for Man City.
So it's a huge divide, and I think this is, a lot of people mention this, and I kind of agree. This is the first season that we can really feel that effect, that kind of the quality of La Liga has felt it. The level of football is lower, and especially I'd say from about 10th down, most of the teams in La Liga are quite frankly terrible. And they're really bad, and they used to be sort of a really solid, strong middle class, sort of second level in Spain, where that was Valencia, Sevilla. I mean, Villarreal is still quite good, but even Betis, the teams, Real Sociedad, these are all teams that were kind of getting very far in the Europa League, Sevilla won 7 Europa Leagues in about 10 years. Villarreal got to a semi-final of the Champions League, and there's a real, I mean, look now, Villarreal in the Champions League got 2 points in 8 games. There's been a real noticeable downgrade, and the question is, how the hell do we get back to where we were? And there doesn't seem to be an answer for it.
Well, you say that. I mean, there are still some fantastic players that play in La Liga, but sadly they seem to all just play for like either Barca or Real. One of those great players, obviously, Yamal, got his first senior hat-trick for Barca at the weekend versus Villarreal, who you just mentioned. I love Yamal's technique for curled finishes. I don't think I've seen a player that can curl the ball so accurately than Yamal can. Like, I think it's for his second goal was magnificent, wasn't it?
I think aesthetically, as a player to watch, he's probably the most fun player to watch in football right now. The way he kind of glides past players.
Neymar-esque, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very Neymar-esque. And it's really, he's so technical. He's like a joy to watch. He's had issues with injuries this season with his groin, but when he has been fit, when he's been able to play, you can just see that kind of he plays almost on a different level in terms of, for me, he's the best winger in the world right now, and he's only 18.
Yeah.
So, and the real question is, if he can turn now that form and that talent into numbers, real big numbers. You got a hat trick now. Can he now start getting 15, 20, 30 La Liga goals a season?
Stop partying.
And kind of.
From Athletic's point of view as well, obviously, how are they getting on this season? They're obviously 5 points off a European spot. Obviously, that would be the Europa Conference League at the moment. The fielding of Basque region players still seem. I mean, it seems a little bit outdated in a sort of modern transfer world, like you were speaking about earlier. Their pool of players they can actually sign is already slim enough as it is. To then have that kind of unwritten rule, do you think that's actually harming them, their future?
No,
against a backdrop of all this economic.
Yeah, no, I
think
if anything, it's a weird one. So Athletic, if you asked pretty much any fan, and they've done it in quite a few times, Athletic have had these rough patches. Would you prefer to be relegated, which we never have been, or go kind of change the philosophy? Pretty much 99% people would say we prefer to get relegated, because it's such a fundamental part of kind of the connection with Athletic to the fan base, to kind of the region, especially to the kind of historical background of the Basque Country and the rest of Spain. But more generally, I'd say this season in particular has been a mix of kind of wear out with Valverde, who's our manager, where it's been 5 seasons now. It seems as if the message is no longer getting across that well. And I'd actually say in terms of talent pool, the Basque Country, surprisingly enough, is quite a lot of exciting young players that seem to keep coming out. Yeah. But even if you look at the Premier League now, Thubimendi, Merino, these are all players that have come out.
Kepa Arrizabalaga, who's also
there you go. So it's been, this season's very much been very frustrating, because on paper I'd say this is probably the most talented Athletic team that we've had in my lifetime. This is a team that last season got to Europa League semi-final, that finished 4th, and I'd say that Europa League semi-final was probably the worst game we played that whole season. Whereas this season we signed Laporte, we brought him back from Saudi, we signed one of the most promising right-backs in La Liga called Jesus Areso from Osasuna, no major sales, kept Nico Williams, and yet between really poor management of his injury, which means he's not played that much, and a real drop-off in just level from some of our star players like Ollán Sancet, who's played with Spain, is our number 10. He's a goal-scoring kind of player, which this season's only scored 2 or 3 La Liga goals, all of which from penalties. It's just been a general unfortunate feeling of, whilst we love Valverde as our manager, he's done super well with us, it's time to change, and things need to really kind of roll over before all of a sudden this kind of great generation is lost. Because as Athletic Bilbao, we're really dependent on generations of players.
On the pitch as well, like who for you is the sort of standout players for Athletic that you love watching?
Love watching. I mean, obviously the classic will be Nico, but unfortunately he's not available. When Sancet is fully at it, he is fantastic. He's a great number 10 to watch, very aesthetic. He looks kind of tall and gangly, and you think this, he wouldn't be as technical as he is, but he's very technical, very good. One of our best players this season has been a guy called Robert Navarro, who's a winger, very technical, good one-on-one, very quick, and he's got a good finish on him. And one to watch as one, I wouldn't be surprised if the Premier League came after him at some point, is our kind of midfielder, number 8/6, Jauregizar, who's a young box-to-box, full of energy, good technically, kind of very complete, well-rounded midfielder. Actually, I think would fit quite nicely inside the Premier League. Nice. But yeah.
Well, we'll get into Real Madrid in a second, but yeah, just quickly on that game itself, like what are all the pod panels predictions for that game now? So what do you think, Athletic versus Barca?
Barca really do need the win. That this title race is hotting up, and if I'm being realistic, I think they'll get the result. But I still, me, love an alternative prediction. So let's say Barca gonna get thumped. A little 3-2 jobby.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna go 1-0 for Barca.
1-0 Barca. Okay.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'd want to say Athletic, but considering how bad we've been and how much Barca do need to win, I say Barca gonna win it.
Okay.
I have a question that I wanted to ask also the other time. Would you consider La Liga the second best league after the Premier League?
I wanted to talk about this because of what we were talking about in terms of the finances. So I was listening to the Trans-Europe Express show on TalkSport, which is a very fun show with Danny Kelly. And one of the things that Mark Randall, who's also on that show, was saying is that you kind of have to consider the Premier League is a completely separate entity to all the other leagues. Like the idea of top 5 leagues doesn't really make sense. You have the top 1 league, Premier League,
and
then
the other
everything
ones.
else is competing in their own sort of pool. And the general idea is that in coming years, Serie A, with like investment going into it, should be able to be up there to compete as that second best league. Or you know how we describe it now, or like the best of the rest, if you like.
Yes.
Right now, I'd say like it's really close for me, because I think Italian teams, that top cohort, you have more teams that are capable of doing
that's
more
the
in
thing.
the European stage. Whereas in Spain, primarily Barcelona, Real Madrid, and then it's a case of like who's going to turn up that season. Atletico Madrid will normally turn up, maybe Villarreal. Like it just really, it's a case of just.
Do you know? I think the problem you actually have though is like the media deals. It's because, like, you know, the accessibility of La Liga as well, especially you mentioned in the last pod that you were on about even trying to watch the games when you're not in Spain is like really difficult unless you're obviously at least
Premier
Sport.
Don't let me lose on Premier Sport, Christ.
Having that access, like back in the day when obviously La Liga was more marketable, you had Messi playing for Barcelona, you had Ronaldo playing for Real Madrid, like. You had these 2 absolute superstars playing at the peak of their power in that league for a period of time, maybe 5 or 6 seasons, was it in the end, where they're literally unstoppable, both like goated level of ability. And unfortunately, since then, it's obviously waned. The Premier League's just risen, and they haven't obviously got very good players, and obviously Yamal, you could argue, is a superstar, but it's not quite matched the level of amazing players that you get in the Premier League. And that is part of the problem, I think.
Unfortunately, I think there was a real mismanagement when La Liga was going through that, because at the time, when La Liga was really, I'd say, in my opinion, maybe the best league in the world.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you.
It was kind of the late 2000s, 2010s, where you had that Barca team, the Real Madrid team that wins 3 Champions Leagues in a row. But even on that secondary level, I mean, you had Atletico Madrid getting to 2 Champions League finals. I mentioned Villarreal got to Europa League semi-finals.
Sevilla.
Champions League semi-final. Sevilla, 7 Europa Leagues. Hell, even Athletic Bilbao got to Europa League final. And when that was happening, there was not enough of an effort to get better media deals, as Robin was talking about there, Kenny, and also spreading that money more across. Because now you look at a lot of the teams outside of the top 3, the established one that have been forever now, they're really struggling financially. And they've been desperate, so much so that we've had to get American private equity to come in and buy some of that Liga rights to give that money to some of those teams. And even then, they're still struggling. And that has impacted the whole league, including Barca and Real Madrid. And I think that's why we're stuck behind the Premier League, and probably will be doomed to be the 3rd or 4th best league in Europe.
I think the thing is, there's such a good opportunity there right now, though, especially in terms of like the way the Premier League is going, and people are talking about it, sense of like it being robotic and systematic and really like boring. People, this is why
we like a fun league.
We used to turn to we used to turn to Spain and be like, "You're playing beautiful football. This is why we want to watch you. Like, this is exciting." Like,
but Naz, I don't think it was that. I think because there has still been good football in the Premier League. It was the
players.
But
this is what I mean.
It
like,
was those players.
The excitement comes from those players. That's what I mean. Like, this is why we tune in to see Yamal, because Yamal's doing that on the pitch. But no one in the Premier League is like doing that. They're like cutting in and like skills and all of that. We don't see that now.
But I think that's part of the issue as well. Like, you can talk a little bit about the streaming element as well. Like, you know, a lot of people will watch football illegally now, whereas back then they'd like pay big whack to have Sky because they wanted to watch Ronaldo and Messi on their Sky box. There must be suffering as well from that as well, because I feel like La Liga, a lot of their revenue is obviously from
La Liga's made a really big point about that. Like Javier Tebas, who's a controversial figure, the president of the league, has now put a thing in place saying that they'll give €50 to anyone who kind of denounces their local bar for streaming a match illegally. That's how much they're so desperate to get any last cent,
any money.
And but I think it goes back to the same point I was saying before. It just feels as if they've just made it so inaccessible, so poorly managed to actually watch La Liga. And actually, on the aesthetic point that Naz brought up, I think one of the problems is because we now become a selling league, we're selling all our best talent to other leagues outside of Barca and Real Madrid, that when we still try, most teams still try and play that aesthetic, nice, beautiful football, but we don't have the same level of players to do it. And therefore, a lot of the games to watch in La Liga are actually really boring because they're trying to play that tiki-taka style. They're trying to play associative football. And usually when it is fun, exciting, goes back and forth, technical players, we're missing those. And therefore, a lot of the games are kind of boring and not fun to sell to, not fun to watch, you know?
Well, another team who well, I don't know if they're necessarily playing boring football, but they're not on a good run at the moment. It's obviously Real Madrid, who I really want to talk to you about as well, because Arbeloa has come in as the manager. How has he fared so far? Obviously, he took over from Alonso, didn't he?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed. I don't know if it's true, but I really enjoyed after look at one of the Spanish League Cup finals where Mbappe just like calls all the players over, and Alonso's like, "No, come over." And they're all just like,
that was
nah.
that was the last straw for Alonso. That was. I mean, it's funny. I feel like I cursed Alonso in some way because when I came on the show the last time before the El Clasico, I was like, "Oh, he's doing such a great job. It's all going so well." And since El Clasico, it's all gone terribly. It's all gone so badly. It's been a disappointing year overall for Madrid. I think there's been a few things. Naz and I were speaking about this before, like that Trent, for instance, and many of the other signings just haven't worked. There have been a lot of promising, exciting signings, and they just not worked.
Which you're delighted about, aren't you, Naz?
Yeah.
That might be a little bit.
But apart from a couple games in early January, Trent has just been non-existent in the Madrid side. He's been a hole at the back, and he's still fighting with Carvajal for his place. So even when he's at 50% Carvajal, he'll play over Trent. And it still feels like they're not going anywhere, and that they've under Arbeloa they've lost 4 of the last 13, which for Madrid is terrible
Getafe
numbers.
as well, wasn't it?
Getafe the other night, which I watched the whole game, and you're playing at Getafe at home. You're 1-0 down. To be fair, it's a beautiful goal.
Satrione's goal,
it's fantastic.
The volley is amazing.
So good to
Proper
be Courtois
footing.
from there.
That's our new quote, Naz.
Yeah,
But you're watching the rest of the game, like, okay, you're playing Getafe at home. You're 1-0 down. They conceded the goal in the first half, and they barely had a sniff of goal. They barely had a chance.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing. It just feels like, what was the point in even getting rid of Alonso if you're just going to keep playing it like this? Like, it just feels like there's no plan. And it just feels like there's no... Because who are you going to bring in now? You know, what managers are available that can now take that position? Because surely they're not going to continue with Arbeloa, not after this.
No. Well, also, I mean, they're missing players like Jude Bellingham, right? He didn't start the game the other night. So having players like them back is obviously going to make a big impact, you'd have thought, for the club going forward, because he is a big loss, isn't he?
He's a big loss, but it's been quite difficult for whether it's Ancelotti, Alonso, or even Arbeloa to actually figure out where to put Bellingham in the side. Is he a 10?
You're
Is
talking
he a
to some
6?
England fans here. Like, we know
Is he
already.
an
we
eight?
know this very well. Yeah.
This
And
narrative's been
you
a long
already
time
have
coming.
Mbappe in the side, then Vinicius, and then how they work together is already a kind of a puzzle in itself. And then working out how Bellingham works in that as well. It just feels like it's been a really difficult puzzle to work in. And the season where Bellingham did the best was his first, and that's when Mbappe wasn't there, when he was playing essentially as a number 9. And now it feels like it's kind of, he's in third gear, he's stuck. He's trying to get back to that form, but it feels as if he's been almost held back. And until they actually get someone who can finally figure out where to put him in the starting 11, it doesn't feel like they'll actually get the full potential out of him.
Fair enough. Well, obviously, I think Naz is right. We should talk about the Champions League. So obviously, Real and Barca are still in the Champions League. Barca are playing Newcastle. Who've Real Madrid got?
Real
Man
Madrid
City.
have got Man City.
Do we still think they are 2 of the favourites for the Champions League, Naz? Or do you think it'd be Bodo Glimt, my favourite new team? Not new team, but like team I started following more closely to go far in the Champions League?
I know that every season we kind of say, like, never rule Real Madrid out. Like, they just have this ability to win games in the
They do that,
Champions
don't
League.
they? So there's a reason people say these things.
But I just really think it's too far for them this season. Like, I really do think that
the injuries.
with all of the managerial stuff going
Without
on.
Arbeloa,
Yes.
no, I agree. I think City will actually win comfortably.
Okay.
I would be surprised if City struggled against this
Yes.
Madrid. This Madrid side is weak at the back, and they're really. And Mbappe, we'll see if he actually is at full fitness for the game himself, which has been one of the few offensive options they've had that's been reliable. I actually think that City will win quite comfortably.
How about Barca, just quickly? Do you think they'll do the business over Newcastle?
Yeah.
Go far in the Champions League this season?
I-
Ludo?
I think it's gonna win not quite easily, but at the end it's gonna win against Newcastle.
Okay. Do you think they'll do all right against
Yeah, I think
Newcastle?
they'll beat
St. James Park
Newcastle.
as well?
St. James
Yeah.
Park, and it might be a difficult game, but they even beat them at the beginning of the season as well, didn't they, in St. James Park? I think they'll get relatively far, but they've had a lot of injuries at the back, so I'd be surprised if they actually won it this year. But they'll definitely make it through.
Nice.
Not even in a like comedic way. I genuinely do think Newcastle could get a result.
Really?
Like, I think, because I think they are like well set up to be a good tournament team. Like, I think on
Gordon
on
in
a
tournament,
on a certain day, like, they can really turn up. So if they do, like, and as they did earlier in the season, they can beat Barcelona. They know it. So I don't know. I think it's possible. And in fact, like, I want to
if I had to bet, I'd bet on Newcastle.
Nice, okay. And just overall for the Champions League, who do we think is going to actually win it, Ludo? Sadly, there's no Italian teams left, which we'll get onto the Milan Derby in a second.
I wouldn't have said that.
But yeah, who do you think is going to actually win it overall?
It's a hard question. Let me think for a sec.
Okay. Laz, do you have any thoughts?
Oh, that's easy. It's Liverpool who's going to win number 7.
Wow.
Of course.
Okay.
I think Bayern. will win it. I really like Bayern's attack. Harry is an unbelievable striker. Elise, I think Musiala will be back in time for the last couple of stages. Kimmich, I think they'll win it.
Yeah, I think you might have it. I think it's either probably Bayern or Man City for me, but I'll probably go with...
No Arsenal.
No.
Well, yeah, they are playing really good in the Champions League, but I just think maybe they'll be a bit distracted by the league, and I feel like you kind of had to sacrifice one over the other.
Yeah.
Often teams seem to do that. The quadruple is a really hard thing to do. So, I'm sorry, Oli. I don't know if you'll get it over the line, but you might win the Premier League. So there you go.
Yeah.
I'll give you that as a cushion.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're very well set up in terms of the schedule, the rest of the Premier League.
And that is why it will go to shit.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, it's all
It's
set up
perfect.
really well for you. Like, it's too good.
It's
going too well.
Yeah.
I will go with, just to circle back to what we said at the beginning, when Pep Guardiola is in, you never know what's going to
City.
happen.
Yeah.
So I will go with Man City.
Okay. Well, Ludo, we've got you on primarily for the Milan Derby. This is your time to shine, obviously. Milan are sadly, for a title race narrative, 10 points behind Inter, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the game and which players should we watch out for in this fixture?
Last time I came here, there was the Derby d'Italia. This is called Derby della Madonnina because it's like Derby of the St. Mary statue, because on the Duomo, on the top of like the Milan Duomo, there is like this statue, so they call them just Derby della Madonnina.
Can I just say, just to pause that, I feel like Ludo and Chris are our most informed guests that we ever get on the pod. Like, I learn stuff from these two. Not to say I don't learn stuff from other people.
Ollie,
yes. I do learn stuff from you, but I just feel like these guys with the facts, the little
Yeah, but do you know what it is as well?
facts.
It's the use.
I don't want to learn about Arsenal. I'm sorry, Ollie.
They're called Romance languages for a reason.
We smooth talk you into
so
it.
Beautiful to listen to.
You could tell me, and I could be convinced by all of your words at the moment. So yeah.
It's always a really good match to watch, but I think the fact that if Inter won they're gonna be 13 points above Milan, because
it's a lot, isn't
Milan, yeah. So of course it's a big match, but I think that the kind of different in points gonna kind of empty the importance of that, because I think right now Inter don't have any rivalries for the title. So I still think it's going to be like a really good show, like something 3-2, 4-3, like last minute goal or something like that.
Fun.
And I even think that maybe Milan can win.
They need to, don't they?
But I think it's their last call to try and still have the like Serie A dream open. But I think that this year Inter really doesn't have contenders, to be honest. So I think it's good. But as I said, it's gonna be something like cinematic. Now it's gonna like finish like 1-0 or something like boring. But in my opinion, it's gonna be like 4-3, 3-2, something like that.
For AC, obviously they lost to Parma in the game before the Cremonese victory in their last game. They're in a bit of a mixed, indifferent form, which is obviously why they are 10 points behind. Players like obviously Leao scored in the last game. Obviously, you got an assist from Nkunku. I was like, oh, Nkunku's playing AC still. I didn't realise. I kind of felt like he kind of disappeared for a while. But who's kind of like blowing? I feel like Leao, is sort of blowing hot and cold at the moment for AC. Is he sort of finding a bit more form these days? Is he still a bit of a bit part player?
I really love Leao, but I think it's not a really consistent player. I think it's his main problem. If he managed to become a really consistent player, it could be like a really top player, because it's when you watch Leao plays, it's really entertaining from my point of view, but it lacks the kind of continuity that you need to be at the top of the level and time. But yeah, obviously I would say that that's the player to watch on like the Milan side. While for Inter, I'd say Lautaro Martinez, of course. You cannot choose somebody else. It's the it's the one. To be
I mean,
honest.
well, just quickly on the Inter as well. Shout out to Bodø Glimt. Obviously, on aggregate, they won 5-2, which is really impressive. I thought they given that they're not playing any league games, that's mad against Serie A leaders.
Yeah.
Incredible, really. But I'm not sure if that's more a reflection on Serie A's kind of fall from grace a little bit, because I feel like to lose to a side like Bodø Glimt is a bit of a shocking result by 5-2 as well on aggregate, or is it just a bit of a one-off?
I think it's a mix of both. I wouldn't say that we're falling from grace. What do you say?
I was maybe being slightly poetic there with my choice of words.
I just think that we have a kind of a problem with like European competition. I struggle to know why, because I think that, of course, like Inter are better. Like they were more competitive and they are a better team. But I don't know. I think that just, like Italian team usually struggle in Europe, and I don't know why. I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah.
But no, I wouldn't say that is a symptomatic of like a problem in the league. I would say that of course we have problems in Serie A. Like as we were saying before, like the money, all this kind of stuff, like players don't want to come to Serie A anymore. The Premier League or even La Liga, I would say, they prefer this kind of like elite team in La Liga instead of maybe like Inter or Milan, which are like the best team, Juventus, they are the best team.
I'd love to live in Italy. Sign me up. I'd love to live over there.
But I wouldn't say that that's a like reflection of what has happened in the European competition. But we're playing badly.
I was prodding you a little bit there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen Naz, but the goal from Di Marco, lovely, beautiful volleyed finish against Genoa. That was a lovely goal. I think it's one of those games where a player like him, Di Marco, Lautaro Martinez, obviously you mentioned Leao, they step up. It could be 4-3 filler. Naz, because we're running a little bit out of time, predictions for the game. Who do you think will win that game?
I quite like. I'm going to follow in the footsteps of Ludovica, and I'm gonna go with like a 4-3, probably to Inter in the end.
Okay, so the title race will be over, which is sad. Okay,
I would, same. What I said before for Inter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just to spice things up, I'll go 2-1 to Milan.
Yeah, they're my Italian team, or one of my Italian teams. 'Cause I used to like Kaká back in the day.
Okay, yeah.
So I'll go 2-1 to Milan.
Okay.
But yeah, Naz, let's get on to On This Day.
Let's do it. Well, I was having a look, and there are so many good ones for today.
Have you got a banger like last week? Because that was particularly strong.
That was pretty strong. Yeah, I think like there's so many interesting ones. Like today's date, which if you're a regular, long-time listener of the Friday Fixture, you'll know that this part.
We're
of
very
this year,
accurate with this part.
We've been recording on Wednesdays.
Fridays.
Totally. So we're looking at the 4th of March. I might even give you guys the choice of which story you want to hear about, because there's so many interesting ones. Would you like to know about a kit story? Would you like to know about an English legend story? Would you like to know about the highest score in the Premier League?
High score, that sounds fun.
Yeah?
Right,
Let's go for that.
Cool. Well, we're going back to 1995. It's a high score in the Premier League that's been replicated a few times. So do we know what scoreline that might be?
Oh, sorry, I thought it said highest, like, top score.
Highest
scoring game
in a match, yeah.
I remember a 7-4, wasn't it?
No, just in terms of, like, highest... Maybe
number
like,
of goals.
Maybe winning margin.
Oh, was it the Ipswich 9-1?
It is Ipswich losing
10
to Manchester United. No one's hit the 10-0 though. It's a 9-0.
9-0.
Which was Manchester United against Ipswich Town, with Old Trafford having 43,804, which also does make me think, like, when did Old Trafford...
I thought you meant shots on target.
Yeah. When did Old Trafford get to, like, 70,000 capacity? Because why were there only 43,000 people there? I don't know. Just want to look for next time. But yeah, the equal highest score in the Premier League, 9-0 from Manchester United against Ipswich Town, with Andy Cole scoring 5 goals.
Andy Cole, wow.
And then Hughes got a couple, and then one
Mark
each.
Hughes.
Yeah, and one
amazing.
each from Roy Keane and Paul Ince. But yeah, just a massive scoreline. I guess the proposal I put out to you is memories of high-scoring games that you really like.
Oh, wow. I mean, I remember back in the prime of Barca and Real Madrid, they used to put some real weapons on some teams. I mean, I remember a 10-2 Real Madrid against Levante, for instance. Or just every now and again, you just see Messi's Barca put 8 or 9 past the team as well. You'd be like, oh, okay, well, just another game. I mean, even for my poor Athletic, you go to Camp Nou and just hope, please, they don't put 5 or 6 past us. So, yeah, I think probably the one that I remember the most, though, was that 10-2.
Well, yeah, well, on the theme of La Liga, probably not highest score, but like, was it 5-0 to Barca against Real Madrid?
Yeah, Mourinho.
Prime Mourinho as well, like, that was pretty brutal.
That was his first El Clasico as well, you know?
David Villa scored, I think, as well. Like, and Pedro came to Chelsea, one of my favourite players, niche players. You know, you have those sort of players that come to your club who are mini legends for like a short period of time. In the Premier League, probably Chelsea 8, Wigan not Arsenal. Sorry, but though we did beat Arsenal 7-1, I think, or 6-1, I think. But probably Chelsea 8, Wigan 0 was a classic to win the title in 2010.
No, I'm gonna go with World Cup 7-1. You cannot forget that.
Brazil,
cup.
That's a good one.
I think I was telling Naz that I actually went to a friend's house, a Brazilian friend's house, for that game.
Yeah.
And they were so excited for the game beforehand.
That's the game when you talk about,
we had like
the
porchacreja and all that,
really
the
big
beautiful
goal
food
difference.
and the caipirinha cocktails and stuff. It was all going really well, and then the game started, and then it just went to shit, and they all like wanted us to leave basically, and it was really awkward. So yeah, it was good fun. Yeah, Naz, how about you?
I keep trying to look up things on my Safari.
Naz is a boy.
It thinks I'm a bot, like it's not letting me Google anything anymore. But there's a game that I've got in mind. I just wanted to check which season it was from, and I think it was the last game of the season. It was Middlesbrough versus Man City in 2008, and Middlesbrough won 8-1, and I think that was just a sign of the times. Like, that was right before Man City got all that investment and turned into the team they are now.
The season before it was the last game before they got the investment.
So it's just a crazy thing to imagine, like Middlesbrough where we see him now, like, you know,
thinking about that now.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
crazy.
Like that result, you just wouldn't see something like that now. So,
my mate Tom went to that game as well.
Not even that long ago, so it's crazy just how fast things have moved since. But yeah,
wow. Well, on that note, I think we've come to the end of the episode. I would like to thank Naz, obviously, Ludo,
thank you.
Chris,
thanks,
Ollie, Ed as well on social. So yeah, thank you guys, and have a good weekend.
See you next time.